counting down, about to put the anchor down. Hotty toddy, who's it gonna be? Cowbell.
ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Don't take no slap. Got a thirst for killing.
Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, of course, presented by Hardees. It's Thursday, August 28th. You know what that means. It means we're a day away from high school football, and it means we're kicking off college football tonight.
Yeah, we have got a wall-to-wall football today. We've got two interviews about the Syracuse and Tennessee game, and then, of course, we got Damon Floyd about Bradley's game as well. So it is a big-time interview show, so we're excited about today.
Once again, I'm Andy here with Jim and Philip, our guys on the board with us today. Glad to have you with us, Philip. Real quick, I do want to kind of preview our interviews. So we're going to lead things off with Chad Smith. Some of you guys might remember Chad from his playing days as a quarterback at Bradley Central.
Correct.
Led the Bears. We kind of talk about this coming up with them, and we're going to hit on some of these things, but he led the Bears. They went from an 0-10 season by the time Chad was the senior starting quarterback for the Bears. They went 9-1 in the regular season, made the playoffs, suffered a big-time upset to Beach in the first round of the playoffs back in 99, but was a huge part of that turnaround. Chad now is currently the director of football performance for Syracuse, so going to get the other orange perspective from Chad today.
And then we'll get the perspective from the big orange from Dan Harrelson from Vols Wire, so we'll get him following the interview with Chad. So, yeah, we're going to knock it out really quick, too.
Yeah, and of course, it is Thursday, so we're going to have Bradley Central head football coach Damon Floyd on around 5:40 or 5:45. We're going to try to squeeze them all in here today. 3 big-time interviews here on The Drive. Excited for that. Hey, something else that we're doing, too, that we want to go ahead and get out there is the ESPN Cleveland 101.3 College Football Pick'em. Yep. And listen, I want to give a shout-out to Slim Money Mason, who's not with us today. Let's take a moment of silence for Slim Money. All right, that was good. So if you go over to ESPN.com, all you've got to do is type in ESPN Cleveland 1013, or you can go to our Facebook page, ESPN Cleveland 1013, and we've got the link posted on there. Scroll down on our main page, and it's the ESPN Cleveland 1013 College Pick'em. Be sure to join and get your picks in tonight because we're getting things rolling.
And by the way, the goal is not to finish first. The goal is to not finish last.
Yes.
Because if you finish last, we're going to just grill you ruthlessly.
And we are. We're going to give a prize away at the end of the season.
That's right.
Who's got the best record. So don't be one of those people. And I got to raise my hand here. I've been guilty of it, where I skip and miss a week, so it messes my record up because I didn't get my picks in. You've got the entire week leading up to games to get your picks in.
Do it on Monday, man.
Yes. Be sure to do it. And if you want to change your mind throughout the week, you can do that. But definitely something that we're excited about doing, the ESPN Cleveland 101.3 College Football Pick'em on ESPN.com. Also, big-time giveaway. We had winners for our Vols 25 giveaway.
That's right.
Jonathan Pigg won those tickets down for the Syracuse-Tennessee game. And then also we gave away tickets for our Georgia-Marshall game, and Janet Henry was our winner.
The Jim Donnan renewal game. You know, he led Marshall to a national championship back in the day. And, of course, there was the head coach at the University of Georgia as well.
So with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to be joined by Chad Smith, the strength and conditioning coach, more or less, for Syracuse. Excited to talk with Chad.
Absolutely. Duracell Cleveland is now hiring mechanical skilled technicians, $22 to $27 per hour. Excellent benefits beginning day one: medical, dental, and vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com.
Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Andy here. And we've got a special guest, Jim. I've been really excited about this interview. We're thankful for Chad to be able to take the time away from his busy schedule to call us in. But I do want to introduce, and I've got a little bit of an introduction here because this guy's got some Cleveland roots, some Bradley County roots. The Director of Football Performance for Syracuse University, former Bradley Bear, Chad Smith. Chad, thank you so much for joining us today, man.
No, it's my pleasure, man. Anytime I can spend some time with people that I knew growing up in a place that's very special to me in Cleveland, Tennessee, in Bradley County, I wouldn't miss it for the world.
So obviously it's a big week for Syracuse coming down to Atlanta, which you're familiar with the Atlanta area, spending some time working down there as well. But I know you've had a very busy schedule, and again, thank you for fitting us into that schedule. But just to give a little background on Chad, former Bradley Central quarterback, and I believe 97 to 99, kind of the end of the Marty Wild era into the Bill Price era over there at Bradley. And you led the Bear team, for those of our listeners that might not remember, went from that 0-10 season, and by the time Chad was a senior, he took that team to a region championship, a 9-2 record. Their only regular season loss was to McCallie, who was a very tough McCallie team. And man, just someone that our community is very proud of. And your journey is something that I'm excited to talk to you about today. But obviously, what you're doing up there at Syracuse is phenomenal. But if you could just kind of talk about your upbringing here in Bradley County and the process that's kind of led you to where you are today.
You know, I'll tell you what, buddy. I mean, growing up in Cleveland, Tennessee, you know, it taught me a lot. You know, it taught me how to be humble, respectful, you know, hardworking, you know, never giving up. You know, I think just my father did an excellent job, and just the people that surrounded me playing sports, baseball, football, just kind of helped guided me kind of really to where I'm in today. But, you know, I mean, I love baseball and football. I mean, I'll probably say I was probably better at baseball than I was football because my father was big time at baseball, but I wanted to make my own name for myself. And so I just wanted to put all my focus on it. But, you know, the memories never leave, and just, you know, starting my career at Bradley Jr. And just, you know, playing quarterback my whole life, just having a good time. And really getting into, you know, high school, like you said, you know, getting there with Coach Wild. You know, I had to try to change positions. I used to think I was an athlete, so I tried to play other positions. But when Bill Price came in, I will say, man, Bill Price made a huge impact on my life. You know, he's exactly what I needed. He reminded me of my daddy, you know, very, very hardcore, blue collar, no nonsense, and they would try you at any means. But you know, you had a choice. You can either react or you can respond. And he did a great job of showing me how to respond. And I was extremely confident, you know, when I was playing for Coach Price. And I mean, and he would yell at you at any moment in time. I think me and Clint got the most of it. But I just wouldn't change it, you know. And that losing season, my sophomore year, I mean, you learn a lot from your losses. And I think failure is something that's a priority that you have to go through in order to understand how to win. And when you're that low and you go through those kind of, you know, that season, all you can do is work if you truly want to be a champion. And when Bill Price came in, that's what we did, you know. And I realized that we weren't the most talented team. We weren't the fastest, we weren't the quickest, but we cared for each other. We were going to pay a price for each other. And when we stepped on that field, we knew we were going to be the toughest, the most physical team to play, and it worked out. You know, I will say that last game that we lost, you know, I'll never forget. You know, because we got a little, you know, we didn't know how to handle winning. You know, and when you're so used to, like, trying to fight after a loss, you know, then when you just start ripping off a bunch of wins, you know, can you be mature enough to handle it? And that taught me a lesson. You know, we were looking passengers from Bill Beach, and Price was trying to tell us, hey, don't look past this team. But shoot, we were all ready for week 2. And, you know, it catches up to you when it catches up to you. And my last pass was an interception, and that was one of the hardest things walking off that field that night, knowing that we could have been mentally prepared a little bit more. So a lot of lessons that I learned, man. But that city means so much to me. My best friends are still there. My mom and dad are still there. Try to come home whenever I can. If you need to find me, I'm probably with Brandon Leslie somewhere. But definitely miss it, man.
Hey, Chad, I looked this up today, so looking up some stuff about Syracuse, and you guys have adopted Coach Fran Brown's DART mentality. That acronym stands for Detailed, Accountable, Relentless, Tough. Talk about the expectations when somebody says dart.
Absolutely. Well, let me first say, these words are so watered down in today's age. It just seems like anybody can pick up a book, hear a podcast, or watch a YouTube video, and now all of a sudden they know what being detailed means, or they know what toughness means. And this isn't just a slogan that we talk about, just to kind of look good or have locker room material. Like, this is how we live our life. And when I was on an interview with Coach Brown, and, I had to, we can get into my personal story on how I actually got the job at Syracuse later on if you want to. I don't want to bore anybody. But, I was in a very rough patch in my life, probably one of the darkest moments. And when I was interviewing with Fran and I was talking about some of the things I had to do to just master that breaking point, the way I had to think and being detailed, I had to hold myself accountability. Because when we talk about accountability, like, it always starts with you, no matter what. It starts with you. And you have to look yourself in the mirror. But that relentless piece is special because it's like, what are you willing to go through and really just fight through to get what you want? And then the toughness part of just being able to master your breaking point while dealing with physical pain, mental pain, and a lot of people forget too, emotional pain, and so when we say that, that's our core values, that's our culture. And when we recruit, and I don't want to speak for our guys who recruit, but they have to have these values already, or it's just too hard for them to come here. And that is our standard. And it even, it goes up every single day with Coach Brown, and he's a man that he practices what he preaches. He's the most passionate, competitive, mentally and physically tough man I think I've ever been around in my entire life. And so when you're around that kind of mentality, who's that kind of those values, we have to put our players in situations to where we can teach them about what detailed, accountable, relentless, and tough truly means. And so it's easy to say, but it's hard to live. And to even take it further, we also say CCT, meaning, are you committed? Do you care? Can we trust you? And a lot of people say a lot of words, and we're really about the action here. And you can say you're committed when you're comfortable, but we're going to put you in situations where we're going to find out when it's really, really rough. Are you going to do what you said you're going to do? Are you going to have that integrity?
Hardees
and
is
then do you
hiring.
care?
Join
Do you
the
care about our
team.
program?
Flexible scheduling,
Do you care
daily
about
pay,
the
free
man
meals,
next to you? Do you care
20%
about the last
family
name on your
discount, plus
back?
paid
And you
vacation
say
for
you do when
part-time
you're
and
comfortable,
full-time.
but how do you feel when you're uncomfortable? And the last piece is trust. And trust is very special. And Coach has a small network of people that he trusts. I'm the same way, just from some of the things I went through my life, especially in this business. And trust is can we trust you with pain? Can we trust you when nothing's going your way? Can we trust you when you're struggling? Can we trust you when you're tired to do your job? So I know that's a lot, and it's probably just you wanted a simple question, but it's just, our culture makes our place successful, and it's a value that we install into the manhood, into the personal characteristics of our players.
Chad, I do want to dive into your personal journey here in just a second, but real quick, you mentioned head coach Fran Brown. Obviously, you guys have a very special relationship. Last year you guys immediately got that program going in the right direction. A 10-3 record up there at Syracuse, won the Holiday Bowl over Washington State, and the week before that had a huge upset over Miami, and saw a really cool embrace between you two. Talk about your relationship with head coach Fran Brown.
I'll kind of start off by saying this. Pain can bring the oddest groups of people together. And pain doesn't care the color of your skin, doesn't care where you're from, man or woman. Pain is personal to any individual. But it can also bring people together. And me and Coach, our personalities are different, but our pain is very similar that helped us kind of relate to each other. And our journeys have been kind of similar. So whenever you put people that kind of share the same pain but have the same vision, regardless if their personalities are different, they're very dangerous to deal with. And that's not being conceited or arrogant. It's just, me and Coach, we know how to take things that go against us and use them to work for us. And that embrace right there, I think to us, we felt they're not built like us because, a lot of people say they want to win, but few are willing to do the preparation. And me and Coach just know what it takes. And he's taught me, I'll be honest, guys, he's taught me what truly the pursuit of winning really is. And we have similar values. I'm just glad that God just put me in his presence, and I'm glad that he decided to trust me, because if a man like Fran Brown trusts you to develop the culture of his program, because it's my job, fellas, to make sure our team takes on the identity of Fran Brown, and that is no easy assignment, and it's certainly not overlooked. But I love and care for Coach Brown, and he gave me a chance when a lot of people didn't, and like I said, we have similar backgrounds, and we know that in order to be great, you got to suffer, and nothing's going to get in the way of us trying to go after a championship.
Once again, we're interviewing former Bradley Central quarterback Chad Smith, currently the director of football performance at Syracuse University.
Let me ask you something, Chad. I saw where college and Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee Dwight Freeney has joined the Syracuse staff in player development. What impact has he made?
Whenever you can get a Hall of Famer to come in and really influence your players, it's special. And, one of the assistants here, I hate to say my assistants, one of the guys I get to work with trained Dwight Freeney. And so he comes around a lot, and just any kind of wisdom and knowledge that he can pass down. When you're the elite of the elite and you can come here in a smaller setting, in a more intimate setting with these players, when he talks to them, they're locked in eye to eye, and he comes out there with cleats, gets right in the drills. So, that's special when you have people wanting to come back. Even Keith Bullock, I know he's going to be the captain, honorary captain for us this weekend, but even he comes back. And Fran's big thing is bringing the alumni and these guys that really, truly had success to bring them here to really help these young men out, because you can't beat wisdom, fellas. So it's special. I was kind of intimidated when I first talked to him, man. He's an intimidating man, but he does what he says he's going to do.
Chad, obviously you just alluded to the big game this Saturday against the Volunteers down there in Atlanta, and Atlanta's another place where you've got some roots there as well. Talk about, when are you guys getting down here? Are you already down here? And just talk about the what it means to you to come back down to this area and get to be a part of this experience.
Well, we're still up in glorious upstate New York right now. It definitely feels like fall already. I don't know if any of the listeners have ever experienced upstate New York, but August is the beginning of our fall. So we're still here. We have another practice here this afternoon. We'll fly out probably tomorrow afternoon, get to the hotel. I haven't went over the details yet with the DFO, but we'll get there tomorrow afternoon. As far as the game, I'd be lying, brother, if I said it wasn't a little bit personal. And I mean that in two things, and I don't mean to upset any of the listeners, but, I grew up in a Florida Gator household. Family big Florida Gator fan.
I remember you rocking the Gator gear.
Oh, absolutely. And you guys know, man, those colors don't match. You know what I mean? And so being a Florida Gator fan in that area, and also, playing, every time you score, you hear Rocky Top, and it's just embedded into your brain over and over and over again. But when being a Florida Gator fan, you obviously have the hatred towards Tennessee. And I don't say I have hate towards Tennessee. When you work in the
sports,
business,
man,
guys,
it's okay. You don't have to apologize, Chad.
And there's even in my household, my daddy's like, don't you dare say that name in this household. But,
I love it.
And so, there's some things right there, especially growing up an hour south of there, it just, for me, though, it's a blessing to come down there. And we're just, we're so happy that we have the opportunity to go against a blue blood program as in Tennessee and in the SEC backyard, right where the SEC championship was played. It's special, and especially from where my career was 2 years ago to where I am now. But I think on the personal note, man, my nieces are coming. Some of my other family are coming. I've got about 20 best friends and close friends that are making their way down there. And some of them are diehard, Tennessee Volunteer fans. And for them to say, hey, Chad, we're going to rock Syracuse gear and we're going to pull for you, that means more than words will ever be able to explain. So just to be able to come down there in a place that means, I'm a Southerner at heart. But to come back and, like I said, play against Tennessee in this type of caliber game and in front of my family and friends, it is certainly just as true that God never makes any mistakes.
Steve Angeli is the new quarterback for the Orange. What do you think about him? How has he been looking? And how does the overall team look to you?
Steve is extremely humble. He's a very smart player. I remember meeting him, on his visit here, and I was very impressed by him. My mentor that helped me out, Matt Bayless, he was the head strength coach at Notre Dame when Steve was there. And so, I love and have the utmost respect for Matt Bayless. And Matt told me, like, hey, man, this is a true warrior. Like, this guy's going to fight. This guy's never going to give up. And he has that persona to him, and he has that attitude. I have to watch the guys get in the Colt tub. He's usually one of the last ones in there. And we just sit there and we talk about personal stuff. We talk about the game. He's just a very mature athlete, and he's going to be a confident player. I don't want to get in too much of all the other stuff. But, as far as Syracuse, the team, I hate using words, guys. Because a lot of people use words. I just think if you were to say, like, what kind of team do you think you have? Buddy, we have a tough team, and we have a team that has prepared. I'm confident in saying harder than most teams. And Coach Brown is not afraid to push these guys to their outer limits. And so, confidence is geared from preparation. And so we have a bunch of guys, man, that have been doubted their whole life and just ready to prove to themselves that they belong on this level. And, and I'll be honest, guys, like, you don't train just to be average. You don't train just to come down there and play the game. These kids and this program, we're training to win, and we're coming down there to fight to win. So I'm excited about the guys. I'm excited to hit somebody else. We've had a long camp, and so we're ready to get down there and show the world what we can do.
Yeah, once again, we're with Chad Smith, the Director of Football Performance for Syracuse University, former Bradley Central Bear. And, Chad, as we get ready to let you go here, if you could, your resume is very impressive. You've held some pretty neat jobs. You've been in the USFL, USC, Georgia Tech, and now obviously at Syracuse. If you could, any of our young listeners that are listening to this interview, just kind of give them some inspiration in what it takes to get to where you are today.
Well, you have to be resilient, and resilient is a very tough characteristic to gain, but I think it's learned. And you have to be faithful. You can never lose doubt in yourself, and you can't listen to the outside world. If you want to win and you want a scholarship and you want all this NIL money and you want to play on the elite level, then you have to work that way, and you have to be willing to go down that path. And if you're trying to chase success, it's a lonely path, and a lot of people are going to go against you. A lot of people went against me 2 years ago. But my biggest advice to people is faith and resiliency, and just be willing to work, and you have to gain toughness. And so when people say that, hey, man, I'd tell people, hey, listen, don't even pat me on my back. Always tell me what I could get better at, because those are the kind of coaches that I had around me. And fellas, I'll be honest, 2 years ago, I didn't have a place to live. I was living out of a suitcase. I was on unemployment. I was on food stamps. I didn't have any health benefits. The woman I loved just left me for another man. I was about to go work at UPS and load trucks. I was about a week away from filing bankruptcy. Everybody that I loved turned their back on me, that I really cared for in this business, and everybody was telling me it was over. But I believed in myself, and I had the Dart mentality, and I refused to give up. And my faith and resiliency got me to be on this show right now, being the Director of Football Performance for Syracuse, coming down and playing Tennessee in the Athletic kickoff game. So you got to have your faith. You got to be able to be tough. You got to be resilient, and you got to not let the outside world dictate what's going to happen to you. Because if you have faith, you're going to be able to push through anything. So, and I tell the same thing. Jaden Gray, number 6, he plays for Bradley now. I watched the game last week. It's cool to see your family, and I trust Damon Floyd with all my heart. I know he's getting those same type of lessons told to him. So I hate that they didn't get it, but hopefully they can beat their crosstown rival in Walker Valley this weekend.
Chad, great stuff, man. First of all, I want to tell you thank you for taking the time to call us. We appreciate your transparency. Awesome story, and I know that everyone here in Bradley County and Cleveland are extremely proud of you and where you're at today, and definitely we would love to have you back on the show again sometime.
I love it, guys. It means a lot to me. And when you're at the bottom, there was a lot of people that still stuck with me. So to be here now and tell the world a little bit about me, extremely humbled. So I just hope this show keeps gaining more and more and more, and you guys reap all the benefits of it. So I will say this, though, and I don't want people to get confused before I get off this thing, go Orange. And I'm certainly not talking about Tennessee.
There you go.
So, I don't want people to get confused. There'll be a lot of orange in the stands, that's for sure.
All right, man. Hey, Chad, take care, man, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you, guys. Have a blessed day, fellas.
Thanks.
Once again, that was Chad Smith, the director of football performance for Syracuse University, former Bradley Bear, still pulling for the Bears from a distance from up there in upstate New York. Pretty cool to hear that, and definitely a great interview there. With that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Now at Hardees, 2 hand-breaded chicken tender wraps are only $5. Mix and match your favorite flavors like buttermilk ranch, honey mustard, and spicy. Endless combinations start with 2 warm tortillas, each filled with 100% white meat, juicy on the inside, crispy on the outside, hand-breaded chicken tenders. Any 2 wraps, now just $5. Hardees, goodness in the making. These items only. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included. Visit restaurant for details.
When competition is fierce, sports injuries happen, and Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Saturday sports clinics are available at our Chattanooga and Cleveland offices from August 23rd through November 8th for the treatment of non-emergency orthopedic injuries like sprains, strains, and fractures. Doors open at 9 a.m., no appointment needed to be seen by our highly trained physicians and clinical staff. Saturday sports clinic dates are subject to change. Check sportmed.com for the latest information. That's sportmed.com.
ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell. Need cash? Check. Behind on bills? Check. Unexpected car repair, broken appliance, surprise vet bill? Check, check, and check. Time to check into Cash, your one-stop money shop. Check all the boxes all in one place. From payday loans to flex lines of credit, we've got solutions that move with you. The process is simple, quick, and designed to get you the help you need fast. If you've been approved, you can leave with cash in hand. Check Into Cash also offers check cashing, money orders, wire transfers, and even gift card buyback. Check your worries at the door and check into a store to apply. We have stores in the Chattanooga area, including Cleveland and Athens. Or visit checkintocash.com to get started today. Check Into Cash. We fund today to make a better tomorrow. Subject to state regulations, eligibility, credit check, underwriting, and approval. Rates, restrictions, and fees apply. Visit a store for details.
Cleveland Tire Center for over 45 years with the best name in tires: Bridgestone, Firestone, Goodyear, and Michelin. Northley Highway, Cleveland. Cleveland Tire Center, where the name says it all.
Rock City and Ruby Falls are fun, but have you been down the Ocoee, camped at Harrison Bay, or on top of Fort Mountain? We are blessed with beautiful adventures all around us, and Honda Cleveland has the Honda to take you there. Hurry in for $5,000 off your choice of 25 Accord or CRV Hybrid. $5,000 off. Or choose 2.99% financing on Accord and CRV Hybrid. Either way, you'll see why KBB.com has named Honda America's best value brand. You can saddle up a new Ridgeline pickup too with financing as low as 0.99% for 60 months, and that'll save you hundreds in financing. Or if you need service, parts, and tires, at Honda Cleveland you can get the work done now and pay over time with up to 3 months interest-free, with no hard credit check and a 90% approval rate. You've got some exploring to do, and we've got your ticket to ride. Honda Cleveland, your car, your way, every day. I-75 exit 20, 1 mile east. Hope to see you soon.
Do you suffer from unsightly leg veins? Are your legs turning brown or swelling? Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Do you have restless legs or leg cramps disturbing your sleep? These symptoms are signs of bad veins. Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Find more information online at milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682 and get rid of those bad veins.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Hey, when it comes to Mayfield Dairy Ice Cream, you'll never have a boring bite. Their limited edition ice creams, cherry, chocolate chip, and banana pudding are inspired by traditional Southern recipes and seasonal favorites. Pick some up today at your local grocery store. And we are so glad to have with us Dan Harrelson from Vols Wire. He covers the Tennessee Volunteers, and appreciate you coming on with us today, Dan.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It feels good to have some football last weekend. Of course, things will get cranked up tonight and tomorrow, and then obviously all through the holiday weekend. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely, man. And of course, Josh Heupel, is doing another great job. He got the extension last week. And, of course, Rick Barnes, we just found out that he got a lifetime contract. How do you get a lifetime contract, Dan?
I don't know. I was thinking he was probably about to retire, but maybe he's got 10 more years in him.
Maybe because it's a little bit shorter lifespan potentially. It's a lifetime contract.
That's it. All right, let's talk a little Tennessee football. We had a little discussion about Syracuse earlier in the show. Listen, Josh Heupel's Tennessee teams have gone over 2,500 rushing yards for 4 straight seasons, which is a first, by the way, in program history. How does the running back room look for the Vols in 2025?
I think it looks good. We're obviously going to see a lot more Peyton Lewis, and I think that's a good thing. Maybe Saturday's game kind of turns into either Peyton Lewis or running back by committee. I do think that the running game, like you said, it's been a staple for not just at Tennessee, but his whole coaching career. And I think we'll see that Saturday. But I'm really looking forward to see Peyton and then Star Thomas, the Duke transfer, just to see if he can get some, not just in the running game, but some touches in the pass game. So looking forward to seeing those guys. And obviously Deshaun Bishop, he's really worked himself up into where he's at now. And he's just a humbled guy. And I would if he can stay healthy, like he has been lately, I would assume that he can get plenty of touches also in this offense.
Hey, Dan, Andy here, and I literally was just telling Jim during our break, I showed him a picture of Deshaun Bishop, and I had the luxury of being able to call a few games of his while he was playing at Carnes, and he looks like a full-grown man now from what he looked, even more so from a year or two ago. He has put on so much muscle, and of course we saw him get some touches last year. I would imagine that workload, even though that room is as deep as it is, it's probably going to increase for him this year.
Yeah, so when his freshman year, I guess that was in 23, he got banged up early, I think maybe in fall camp or something, and then he redshirted, so all that time, I think that's probably helped him get his body where it's at instead of having to go through a full season and hits and all those things. So I think that actually helped him. And we had local media day right before fall camp started here. And I talked to him. He just said during that time he just relied on his faith, and he's kind of put everything together in his life and just football too. And I'm hoping when you see stories like that, you just want to see guys like that do well. So I'm looking forward to see how much he's more involved in this offense, not just Saturday, but going forward.
So speaking of being involved in the offense, obviously there's been a lot kind of being said and going around on the socials over the offseason regarding Boo Carter, a local product here, played at Bradley Central High School. If you could just kind of let us know where Boo stands as far as what you're aware of when it comes to playing time. We heard Coach Heupel during his weekly press conference on, I believe it was on Monday, say that he's at a point, and he used the term, where he's going to learn and earn the playing time on the field. Is there a potential that we see him get some offensive snaps, or is that going to come later down the road?
Yeah, I guess that's the $1 million question. I would assume I'm going into this Syracuse game thinking he could play, but I don't know if it's going to be offense, defense, or it could just be just special teams. And maybe that's not in the return game. Maybe he's got him out there doing some tackling to earn his way into maybe ETSU next week. I don't know. He didn't, outside of what you just mentioned, he didn't really dive more or deeper into that. It's kind of like the question he got about the depth chart, the QB2 who's second in line past Joey Aguilar for the quarterback spot. So he doesn't really give up too much, but outside of that, you hear some rumblings. Maybe it's a special teams situation, and then he goes from there. So we'll see. But, I mean, it's unfortunate that this came to this situation, but it is what it is. And he's still on the team, so I would imagine at some point maybe he can start getting some meaningful snaps going throughout the season.
Talking with Dan Harrelson from Vols Wire. Of course, we're discussing the Tennessee-Syracuse game coming up on Saturday at noon. And you can hear that game, of course, on Mix 104.1. Listen, the Vols started Hendon Hooker in 2022, Joe Milton in 2023, Nico Iamaleava in 2024. This is the fourth straight year that Tennessee's had a different starting quarterback. By the way, there's other teams out there doing the same thing, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Let me ask you this. Do you think that's going to become more and more common, and do you think it's a problem to having a new guy start every single year, it seems like?
I do. I think it's bad for the sport. But what's crazy about the Syracuse-Tennessee game, you have two transfers, but they didn't even go through spring practices at the school that they're about to start for in week one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's alarming. You hear some NFL-type people that are kind of upset with college right now because these guys aren't getting developed like they used to, and they're not NFL ready. And I think to a degree we do see that early on throughout maybe first couple of years of a career in the NFL, just because these guys. I called it the other day. It's kind of like glorified intramural sports because it's just like any other regular student at any college. You can transfer out and switch intramural teams each semester. I mean, that's kind of how college football is right now. But I think it's in a bad spot just for development, especially at the quarterback spot, but also throughout offenses, especially some of the more pass-heavy type offenses that the guys just don't learn. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's a factor in route running too. I just don't think they're getting coached up because they're not spending enough time at certain schools.
Dan, one thing as we're talking offensive side of the ball that I want to get your opinion on is the offensive line. Tennessee's got some names with a lot of stars beside them, some big-time dudes as far as that goes, but it's inexperience. What is realistic for Tennessee fans to expect from this Vols offensive line?
Well, I think the offensive line could turn out to be pretty good this year. I do think they need to figure out the center spot. Maybe they already have. We'll definitely know Saturday if Sam Pendleton, the Notre Dame transfer, if he's going to be at center or guard. I'm going into this thinking he could possibly be at center, and then they keep hyping up Jesse Perry, and maybe we see him at guard, Pendleton at center. But I kind of like it because Lance Hurd, I think he's very mature. The media setting I talked to him with before training camp, he was in real good shape, had his head on right. You can just expect some good things, you would think, out of Lance Hurd this year, as long as he stays healthy. And David Sanders, you had, I guess, Larry Johnson go to Colorado, and that opened up a spot immediately at right tackle for him. And then Wendell Moy, the transfer, he should be plugged and play at the left guard spot. So I think the only question mark there, where is Pendleton, center or guard, and where are they going to put maybe a Jesse Perry? But I do think maybe depth-wise there could be some issues, but I do think right now at the moment, they're going through this first month, the offensive line should be okay.
Hey, Dan, last question for you before we got to go. What's your opinion of the SEC going to 9 games in 2026? Now, I'm pretty sure that Alabama and Vanderbilt are locked in as far as permanent opponents go for Tennessee. Who do you think would be that third permanent opponent for Tennessee?
Yeah, you hear certain things, maybe Kentucky or South Carolina. It'd be interesting. I don't think Florida will get retained. You never know, but I think South Carolina could be in play for Tennessee. You would like to see Kentucky just because they're so close together, kind of like Alabama and Mississippi State, just close campuses. But I don't know if that's going to be retained. But I do think Alabama and Vandy will be 2 of the 3. but I wouldn't rule out South Carolina just yet.
Hey, Dan, before we let you go ahead and plug Vols Wire.
Yeah, ballswire.com, and we got a bunch of stuff, content going into the Syracuse game right now.
All right, hey, Dan, appreciate your time, man. Have a good weekend, and enjoy your trip down to Atlanta, man.
All right, thank you. You guys enjoy the weekend.
Thanks, man.
You too, Dan.
Dan Harrelson from Vols Wire. We appreciate him coming on the show. Of course, we've seen the Syracuse side of things, and we've seen the Tennessee side of things. So,
listen,
this is a very orange show today.
And how many other radio shows are you aware of that's able to dive into both sides of a matchup like that? When it comes to local sports radio, ESPN Cleveland 101.3 right here, Cleveland Chattanooga has got you covered.
Yeah, we want our listeners to be informed prior to the games. And listen, there's only so many questions we can ask these guys. Listen, I've got a bunch of questions right here. I didn't get to them.
Yeah, same here.
That's just the reality of it.
And we'll go ahead. We'll plug that segment as the Inside the SEC, sponsored by Southern Heritage Bank. And shout out there to Dan Harrelson for joining the show with us.
Absolutely. And Inside the SEC, sponsored by Southern Heritage Bank. Since 2006, the SEC has posted a 35-18 record in BCS/college football playoff games, more wins, appearances, and winning percentage than any other Power 4 league. The Southeastern Conference led the nation yet again in 2024 with 439 former players on opening rosters in the NFL. A total of 35 former SEC players were on active rosters of Super Bowl 59 between. Boy, I'm glad I know my Roman
there you go.
Between Kansas City and Philadelphia. Listen to this, man. This is really interesting. The SEC is 122-78 in bowl games since 2006. The only FBS league with a winning percentage of over 60%. That's pretty impressive there. And lastly, the SEC now has won 73 games in the last 9 postseasons and has sent no less than 8 teams to postseason bowls in each of the last 18 years. Again, we really appreciate Southern Heritage Bank inside the SEC.
And real quick, before we go to break, we've got middle school football action tonight. Lake Forest taking on the Ocoee Colts. That is at the MAC at Walker Valley High School. JV started at 5:30, so that game is currently going on. The varsity game between Lake Forest and Ocoee takes place there at Walker Valley High School at 7 p.m. Also, Cleveland Middle School taking on Baylor. So there are some rumors. Maybe Peyton Manning might be at the game. I don't know. Go over to Cleveland Middle and check it out for yourself. JV started at 5 o'clock. Varsity starting a little less than an hour away at 6:30. Again, Baylor at Cleveland Middle. With that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have Bradley Central head football coach Damon Floyd.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
The difference between an average morning and a Hardee's morning is hearty goodness that lasts till lunchtime. Like Hardee's smoked sausage biscuit, split Hillshire Farm smoked sausage on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. And our Frisco breakfast sandwich with cherrywood smoked bacon or ham on toasted sourdough. Hardee's, goodness in the making. Download the app and join my rewards for special offers. Available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Don't miss the Paul Feinbaum Show, weekday afternoons from 2 until 5 on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Always topical, always entertaining. Paul Feinbaum on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees.
When competition is fierce, sports injuries happen, and Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Saturday sports clinics are available at our Chattanooga and Cleveland offices from August 23rd through November 8th for the treatment of non-emergency orthopedic injuries like sprains, strains, and fractures. Doors open at 9 a.m., no appointment needed to be seen by our highly trained physicians and clinical staff. Saturday sports clinic dates are subject to change. Check sportmed.com for the latest information. That's sportmed.com.
CityScope Magazine 2025 High School Football Collectors Edition. Your inside look at 41 teams. Team profiles, coaches' comments, stats, schedules, rosters, and game day pictures. See legendary teams, football fanatic families, and a lot more. Look for the Golden Football. Win $500 for your school. $500 for your school. Purchase a copy from your school booster clubs. All proceeds go to schools. CityScope Magazine High School Football Collectors Edition. Don't miss it. Help support your school.
For the past quarter century, Mix 104.1 has been your home for UT Vols football. That's something to celebrate. Vol 25 is here. ESPN Cleveland 101.3 and USS are giving you a chance to win tickets to all of the Tennessee road games this season. Each Monday before a road game, you can register to win tickets to that Saturday's Vols game. Vol 25 is brought to you by USS. Visit USSTN.com/Chattanooga. For more information, check out our ESPN Cleveland 101.3 socials on Facebook and Instagram. When you need a new roof, it's all about trust. Your home is too big an investment and you can't afford to make a mistake. Cleveland Plywood has the products and expertise you're looking for. Contractors have trusted them for over 50 years, and they carry only proven products from reputable suppliers like IKO. IKO Cambridge is one of the heaviest weight asphalt shingles you can buy, and their limited warranties are among the industry's best. Protect the investment you've made in your home. Go with the pros at Cleveland Plywood, 2700 20th Street Northeast in Cleveland. Call 472-3357.
Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Visit milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682.
Whirlpool Cleveland is currently hiring for entry-level production roles. Starting pay $18.25 per hour, jumps to $19.35 per hour after 90 days. Benefits start on day one, including medical, dental, vision, 401k, life insurance, and more. 120 total hours of paid time off. 10 hours the first 3 months. Remaining balance after 90 days. Apply at jobs.whirlpool.com. Jobs.whirlpool.com.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. And it's time to talk a little high school football, of course, presented by Food City. Shout out to Food City for all of our high school football coverage. Jim, you didn't have to remind me.
I didn't have to remind you, but we're excited to have Coach Floyd to hear what he has to say about this big game coming up.
Yeah, we're joined with Bradley Central head football coach Damon Floyd. Coach Floyd, how's it going, man?
Well, it's been better. Coming off a tough loss, and then obviously playing Walker Valley this week, so we got to turn around quick though. So,
well, Coach Ford, they say the most improvement that a football team makes is between game 1 and game 2. So, how do you feel about that?
I know that. I hope that's the case, but I'll be quite honest. The way we've practiced, I don't know if that's going to be the case because we've not really came out the way I would like to this week. We've had good moments, but just as far as a good total week, to me, there's not been enough effort, especially coming off a tough loss. So, it's my job to get it out of them, and for whatever reason right now, it's not happening the way I'd like it to.
Of course, Coach Floyd, you're referencing last week McMinn defeated you guys over there at Bear Stadium 21-17, and I want to say this. That's a tough McMinn team, Coach. I want to give Coach Cagle and that team some credit. And you've got some guys on that team that are kind of learning the playbook, learning the system still. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. I know I've texted you privately and said this. I have a lot of faith in a Damon Floyd coached football team.
Well, and look, Bo and McMinn, I got a lot of respect for them. They do it the right way every single year. They play, the way the game's supposed to be played. But let's be honest, and I'm going to critique myself here because if anybody that watches that game, we did not look like a very well-coached team. You can't have 14 – well, we had 14 penalties, actually. I think there was a couple declines. You can't have that many penalties. And we didn't execute the way we're supposed to. So if I'm watching that game, it's like I don't know who the head coach is, but they're not doing a good job. So I've got to do better. Now, players got to go execute, but I can make all excuses that I want, but the bottom line is I'm not getting the job done. And hopefully it turns around this week. Like you said, usually the biggest improvements made from game 1 to game 2, but Walker Valley's also playing game 2, so they're going to improve. So, and I think Drew has done a really good job of building that program, and those guys, you can tell they're disciplined on film. They play with a swagger, so we got a work cut out for us for sure.
Coach, I know you're critiquing, and I get it. And I would do the same thing. But there were some positive things that happened in that game as well. What was the highlight as far as offensively, defensively? We all know what special teams highlight is. But what was some of the things that stood out that were positive in your eyes?
And you're right. And look, this is one of my faults. I look at the negative way too much. Defensively, I'll be honest, I thought we played really, really well except for two plays. Two plays in that game cost us. And then, of course, the fake punt, which I called, coming out of our end zone, which I think if we execute it, it's there, but we did not execute it. Looking back, I wish I'd have just punted it and tried to play defense because how good our defense was playing. Offensively, when we didn't have penalties, we look pretty good.
Yeah.
But the problem is you have, silly penalties that really put us in some long yardage situations. And we didn't run the ball the way I thought we could. I thought we had some decent runs, but a lot of that too was we were put in a situation where we have to throw it. You're not going to run the ball 2 times against McMahon and pick up 20 yards. So yeah, there was some good moments. I thought Reggie Hubbard on the kickoff return,
right.
He had a couple of good ones, but obviously the one on the touchdown, I think he actually set the record. Boo had 98 yards. I think his was 99 yards. So, yeah, there was some positives. We made a 35-yard field goal. But just sloppy play overall, just sloppy.
Hey, Coach, next thing I want to ask you, obviously everyone's pretty familiar with your quarterback situation. Tyler Cook going down for the second year in a row with a season-ending injury, but his younger brother Tucker Cook at the helm for you again this year. If you could talk about what you saw in week 1 from him, from playing as a freshman last year to his first game as a sophomore this year.
Yeah, we really, really protected him the way we called the game last year. Friday night, we didn't protect him at all, and I thought, for the most part, he handled it really well and made some really good plays. Could he make a couple more? Yeah, and if it's 5 weeks later he makes those plays, I will say the very last play, the interception, that was not his fault. That was my fault. So I called a bad play there and put him in bad situations. And once again, the penalties put him in some bad situations the other night, and I thought he handled them for the most part pretty well. So I actually told him today at practice because, he's throwing with a lot of aggression and it just looked a little different today, throwing the ball with a little bit more confidence. I said, man, you just got to play out on Friday. Just go out there and throw it, and I think he will. I think he's going to end up, I think in a couple of years people will look back and hear the Tucker Cook name and think, man, that was a good quarterback at Bradley. So right. He's got to let the weapons around him use him, but our offensive line's got to play better too. So, but yeah, I was really pleased with Tucker.
You looked at the film, I'm assuming, and what do you think about Walker Valley?
They're scary. You start with Sailor Boyd and Roman Julio out there. I don't know if there's another team we'll face that has 2 better receivers on one team. And then the quarterback, he's got a really, really strong arm. And obviously Drew runs a good scheme. So the thing that shocked you, that shocked me, that I really didn't want to see was how well they ran the ball against Cleveland. So, you got to – obviously you're going to have to bring pressure at times. You're going to have to play coverage at times and mix it up. You can't just sit in one defense. But So that's kind of, that makes you worry. And then defensively, really, really, what we like to play defensively, the way we describe it is relentlessly. And I turn on their film, and that's kind of the way they are. They're always in the right spot, so it tells you they're very well coached, they're disciplined, and then they play with extreme effort. So, I got a lot of respect for Drew and what he's done. I know I said that earlier, but he's done a really good job with that program and getting the most out of his kids.
Hey, don't fire him up too much. You don't need to be hearing all that, Coach Floyd.
Well, hopefully he's not listening to me. He's got a new baby. So.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, we were talking about, you mentioned some good quarterbacks. Speaking of some good quarterbacks, we had the opportunity earlier in the show to interview Chad Smith, who's former Bradley Central quarterback and took that team from an 0-10 season to winning a region championship in 1999. And I just wanted to holler at you and let you know that he gave you a shout out and said that he's pulling for the Bears this week.
And he's watching the games on our TV.
That's awesome. Yeah, me and Chad, we don't talk a lot, but we stay in contact. And actually, our parking pass this year, we try to do an alumni every year, and he's on it. So, him being the Syracuse strength coach and stuff, so graduate of Bradley, we try to highlight some of those guys that are especially still in college football or sometime athletics. So, yeah, he was actually the alum highlight this year on our parking passes.
That's pretty cool. Listen, you need to holler at him, tell him to hook you up with some tickets for Saturday down there in Atlanta.
Man, I'll be at home watching film. I don't get to go to many games. My wife's mad at me because, we got an opportunity to go to some games, and I just don't want to leave the house. And heck, this Saturday, no, I'm not leaving for sure. There's way too many good games on TV.
You're right. You're definitely right. Any particular game you're looking forward to Saturday?
Well, obviously, our former players, I want to make sure and watch them, and I'm excited for them. But I guess Ohio State, Texas, maybe. I can't even think of all of them right now, but I know there's a list of good ones. But
and we got to see what Corso's going to do too, don't we, Coach?
Yeah, heck yeah! You got to watch game day. Yeah.
That's good stuff. Hey, Coach Floyd, thanks so much for joining us. It's always a good interview having you on with us, and I know you got a busy schedule, and so I don't blame you for taking it easy on Saturday and watching film. It's a full-time job.
No, oh yeah, that's my day. I'm watching games, but I'm watching film the whole day too. So it's a busy day, but I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, good luck to you Friday, Coach.
Thank you.
Bradley Central head football coach Damon Floyd. Always a fun interview with Coach Floyd.
I know that he, listen, anytime a coach loses, they beat themselves up. And he beat himself up for like a whole week. I'll promise you this team will be much improved against Walker Valley. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to win the game, but you won't see nearly as many mistakes.
Obviously,
they'll clean up. Even though he said they didn't have good practice today, I believe that he'll have them fired up and ready to go.
Yeah, obviously I'm calling the game on the Walker Valley end of things, but I fully anticipate this being an absolute battle between these two teams because they both feel like they should win this game. And there's not a better game that takes place when both the teams feel like they should be the team that comes out on top.
Yep.
And listen, Coach Floyd and his team, what they've done over there for the past 20 years, seeing where things started under his tenure to where they are now, for God's sake, their slogan is "Bust Face." Like that's pretty cool.
Cool.
That's a pretty hard-nosed team over there. So I can promise you they're going to bring it Friday night. And he had some really good things to say about Coach Akins and the Mustangs. But I promise you, when he's in that locker room talking to those guys, he's going to have them fired up and ready to go after them.
Okay, Andy, we've been on the air almost a whole hour, and we haven't even discussed the biggest news in the NFL that happened right before we came on the air. And then Micah Parsons getting traded from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers. Your thoughts about that?
And he was traded for 2 first-round picks and basically a player to be named later from what we understand.
A frontline player.
Yes. Yeah. So you've got to like that pick. If you're the Packers, you're getting one of the best players in the league. But at the same time, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, not only do you get to retain your first-round pick, you're getting 2 more first-round picks. You're very, very likely to strike at least 1 out of 3 with a game-changing pick.
Does it say 26 and 27 first-round picks?
And
20, 26,
even if they're staggered like that by year, I'm still okay with that because I tell you what, there's an opportunity there where you can go get a game-changing player for the next 10 years of your franchise.
But you just lost a guy that's guaranteed a game changer.
But
to the Green Bay Packers.
Can I be honest?
I like the Packers into this deal myself, and you like the Cowboys into the deal.
But did we expect the Cowboys to do anything this year? Honestly,
I expected them to re-sign Parsons. I did.
No, I'm saying result-wise.
I was talking about the franchise.
Did you expect them to contend?
Listen, the Eagles are far and away the best team in that division. But I do think the Dallas Cowboys have a really solid roster. Not nearly as solid as it was earlier today, though.
And they could go on a run, and let's say they do. But this is ensuring your future, and I actually kind of like this move from Jerry Jones and the Cowboys.
Well, we'll see. And I'm not a fan of Dak Prescott, but I do think he's got what it takes to take a team to the postseason.
Yeah,
I don't feel good about the Cowboys today as I did earlier in the day. That's for sure.
Yeah. One more time, breaking news today out of Knoxville. Tennessee Athletic Director Danny White announces a lifetime contract. I repeat, a lifetime contract for Vols basketball coach Rick Barnes. And I jokingly said, we don't know how long you're going to factor in a lifetime contract for an older gentleman like himself. But that's a big deal, and that was broke right here on the Mike Keith Show.
That's right. Every Thursday for the next 36 Thursdays from 3 to 5, you can listen to the Mike Keith Show. Yeah, I thought it sounded really good. I liked it.
Hey, listen, I know Finish Line says they're the fastest hour in sports, but we're right there behind them. We're in a close second place. This hour flew by today. Shout out to Finish Line Radio. You can catch those guys every Wednesday right here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. But, hey, for us today, that's it. For Jim, Phillip, I'm Andy. Excited to be with you guys covering some high school football tomorrow. Be sure to tune in to all three stations for Bradley, Cleveland, Walker Valley coverage. With that, you've been listening to The Drive. Have a great day, everybody.
Hardees is hiring. Join the Star Team. Flexible scheduling, daily pay, free meals, 20% family discount, plus paid vacation for part-time and full-time.